Plus, to be a part of your day, Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio, home of Win Kevin Miller's Money. And our code 2 word is outdoors. That's right. Outdoors is our code 2 word. Check that out at KIDOTalkRadio.com for your chance to win up to $5,000. We appreciate you listening. And remember, coming up tomorrow, we're going to be at Meridian Technical Charter School, brought to you by CapEd and CapEd Credit Union and Team Mazda Subaru. And Thank You Thursdays. We're going to give you a chance to win an hour of massage from Massage Envy and a prize pack from the Idaho Lottery and a free car wash from Ultra Touch in Meridian and Boise. Joining us now, Feel the Heat. ReaganBabe.com's Megan Barth. Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Well, we need some heat here. It's a little chilly and it's about ready to get a little wet, but as always, we appreciate you joining us. So Paul Ryan says, we'll be seeing you. Megan, your thoughts on this? Is this a surprise?
It's not really a surprise to me that this has been kind of floating around the water cooler, at least a few months now. So I can't say that I'm going to miss him. He basically broke all of his promises like many moderates do. I think he's supposedly a fiscal hawk, but he put together an omnibus of $1.3 trillion, funded Obamacare along with John Boehner, and basically told us, that repeal thing, we couldn't really do that. We just said that to get reelected.
Indeed, but we are seeing a considerable amount of Republicans leaving. Is this a good thing? Some conservative, some establishment. You're on the inside. What do you think?
I never think it's a good thing that gives us a disadvantage, obviously. We do have a lot of Republicans leaving, but many of the Republicans should probably have left a long time ago. I think this is part of the Trump effect. Either they don't like him personally or he is challenging them politically. Donald Trump went in there to take basically an axe to the power structure, and that he is doing. So the resistance is not only coming from the left and the seditious type of coup that the left is now engaged in and has been engaged in since the campaign. You have the right and the same cast of characters on the right that are also part of the resistance. So I think many of these, I hate to see Goodlatte go. I really do. I happen to like Bob Goodlatte. But I always think that perhaps this purging is part of cleansing, if you will. And so I said this midterm election, and I've been saying this now since we've been noticing a lot of people are leaving. This midterm election is probably as equally as important as the general. And I have to have some faith here. We don't have a Tea Party movement like we did when we swept in 2010 and 2012. But we do have the Trump movement. And I am hoping that the wave of the Trump movement is as equally strong as the wave of the Tea Party, because we really do need to save the House, or all of this calamity and all of this, these attacks and all of this vitriol is going to intensify if Nancy Pelosi takes back the gavel, because they will start impeachment proceedings. And so our whole country, the thing is, the Democrats hate the president more than they love the country. And I even question many of their love for the country, because how can you love something that you want to fundamentally transform?
Our great friend.
So we have to be very, we have to just be very,
Megan, you're killing me with you're killing me with the pauses. I don't know when to jump in.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just want to let everybody know our great friend Megan Barth joining us, ReaganBabe.com. You're right about that. So let's get to the skinny of this. You have Republicans yesterday in the Senate going that if Mueller gets it, if he gets fired, that's not going to be good for the president. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, Mueller has attacked attorney-client privilege through this FBI thing. Well, it had to be some type of great measure that was meant to make this happen. We don't know that. And the allegations that are flying, the leaks that are coming out, and the idea that the president can't fire the special prosecutor, and the people that are supposed to have his back are going to have his back with a knife in it is troubling. Your thoughts on the latest concerning Gary Cohn and the fallout from that, ma'am?
Well, I write about the latest raid, which violates attorney-client privilege along with many other things. It's called the violation of privacy in an era of weaponized government. And, you look at Facebook and you look at the violations of privacy specifically on this raid on Cohen's office and his home and his hotel room and how it was a raid. And we're supposed to rely on the FBI to piece through all of the information to make sure that the attorney-client privilege information is over here and not taken. And then all of this porn star information is over here. So we're just going to take that. No one trusts the FBI. And this is what happens in an era of weaponized government. We are on the heels of the Obama administration, which weaponized nearly every agency against their political enemies, whether it was the IRS, the DOJ, the Bureau of Land Management. This whole raid on Michael Cohen, and then we're watching the Democrats go, well, there must be something there. Of course there's something there. There must be a preponderance of evidence. There doesn't have to be. It could just be all for optics. Because the Bundy family here in Nevada, who was raided, their land was raided. They were put in prison for years, and the federal government failed to produce the evidence after 5 years. So the federal government is weaponized. It still is weaponized by the old Obama holdovers. And what if Donald Trump fired Mueller? Everyone hates this guy in the Democrats. Everyone hates Trump, right, from the Democrat side. All of the Obama holdovers are involved in a coup, whether they were setting up the FISA court, lying to the FISA court to basically create a spy dragnet on a political campaign, because it wasn't just about Carter Page. Once you start bugging stuff, everyone gets involved in the bug. They were picking up communications from the president now, at the time the candidate. They were picking up communications from Michael Flynn and everybody else involved in this dragnet. So what if he fires Mueller? What are they going to do now? I mean, they've already raided his lawyer's office. They've already leaked all of his conversations or many of his conversations with world leaders. They're already talking about impeachment. Drop the nuclear bomb. Fire Mueller. Let's see what happens. If they want to start wars, we can finish wars.
Our great friend Megan Barth joining us here. What did you make, by the way, for those tuning in, yesterday was a big deal on Capitol Hill. Let's take a listen to Mark Zuckerberg's testimony. And then we'll get Megan's comments on that here at KIDO Talk Radio.
I started Facebook. I run it. And I'm responsible for what happens here.
If you and other social media companies do not get your act in order, none of us are going to have any privacy anymore.
There's a very common misperception about Facebook that we sell data to advertisers. And we do not sell data to advertisers.
Has there ever been a breach of Facebook data?
I don't believe that there's been a breach of data that we are aware of.
Has there ever been a hack?
Yes.
And have those hacks accessed user data?
I don't believe so.
If you've messaged anybody this week, would you share with us the names of the people you've messaged?
Senator, no, I would probably not choose to do that publicly here.
I think that may be what this is all about.
Your user agreement sucks.
I believe deeply in what we're doing. And I know that when we address these challenges, we'll look back and view helping people connect and giving more people a voice as a positive force in the world.
Your thoughts on the Zuck testifying yesterday?
Well, I thought it was quite embarrassing to watch many of the senators not know what they were talking about when it came to technology. Yeah, this is who's supposedly creating the laws to regulate technology. Oh, okay. But the underlying issue here is Facebook, and Ted Cruz got to this point, and Ben Sass in a sense. Is Facebook a news platform or a social media platform? Because the bias is thick. When he says, voices for everybody, well, not Diamond and Silk. Diamond and Silk are supposedly harmful to the community, unsafe for the community. And then another thing that he told Cruz, and I think Ben Sass asked him to define, what is hate speech? And see, these hate speech was created by the Democrats in order to censor dissent or to censor free speech. And the Democrats have been going after free speech since they wanted to revive and reinstate the Fairness Doctrine. You remember the Fairness Doctrine if you're in talk radio. They want the Fairness Doctrine so bad. So if they can't legislate the Fairness Doctrine, they will use their tech titans who donate money to their campaigns. They go on their yachts in the summer into Monte Carlo, and they talk about how they can conspire against conservatives and how they can censor conservatives. So you watch how Google and Twitter and Facebook, all in bed with the Democrat Party, are talking about how they want to become more involved in the news. Okay, well, who's going to determine what fake news is? Oh, Fox News is fake news, faux news, as they call it. Diamond and Silk's opinion is not allowed. It's harmful. And then they change the algorithms. And this is something that's very subtle that people aren't really up to speed on. But me, as a researcher, I've noticed it. Let's say I would put in voter fraud Obama. Well, 2 years ago when I did that, I would get a variety of sources. I would get sources from everything from CNN to Zero Hedge to smaller blogs. Now I get CNN, ABC, New York Times, LA Times, Washington Post, and then some random vegan blog out in like Portland, Oregon. So changing the algorithms is a very subtle way at silencing conservative voices.
Megan Barth joining us, ReaganBabe.com. Megan, we always appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate being on.
All right, take care.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Coming up, Zuckerberg meets the press. What does it mean for your personal Facebook feed? Paul Ryan says, we'll be seeing you. And the president's ready to smack down Syria. All that before Glenn Beck with me, Kevin Miller, at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. You're listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Thank you for starting your day with us. Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. Don't forget, Power Your Education, brought to you by Grade Powered Learning in Meridian. You can win a 50-hour customized learning package. Go to KIDOTalkRadio.com to learn the details. All you have to do, write a 100-word essay on why education is important to you. That's why education is important to you. You could win that 50-hour prep package, ACT, SAT prep, math, science, school prep, you name it. Brought to you by our friends at Grade Power Learning in Meridian. Let's go to Holly in Caldwell with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Holly.
Hi, Kevin. I've been reading on KrisAnne Hall. She's a constitutional attorney, and she's talking about Facebook. And I like what she said. It says Facebook is a private corporation. Congress has no business wasting public time and tax dollars questioning Zuckerberg on Facebook's discriminatory practices. Zuckerberg should just own up to who they are and say, yes, we are a bunch of hardcore leftists. We will run our private business with a leftist ideology. We are not the government, and we don't need everybody to feel equal in our sandbox. And if you don't like it, go to another place. So the key to it is we have to find another place that everybody goes to and quit using Facebook if we don't like the way they do business. But we don't need any more government in our businesses. We need more liberty. We need politicians to stop using this as a soundbite and pretending like they're going to do something. This is just a smokescreen.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I'm alarmed. Look, Facebook is the liberal newspaper of the day, but they're libs. They should just out themselves, say, hey, we're about the libs, and conservatives, come here at your own peril. But the idea that you have people, Holly, as you've said, that want to regulate it, it's not a utility like the sewage department.
No. And people should go into their settings and under blocking, type in Facebook security, and on a regular basis remove those. Also, people following them, because they'd be surprised how much conservatives have their accounts monitored.
Right, and it's just coming up with something else, and, that doesn't seem like a bad idea. It's just, there's an opportunity.
I know there's MeWe and Codius. A lot of them are not as user-friendly, but I don't know the way to do that. But unfortunately, it is it's used for marketing. We stay in touch that way. It's almost like second to, a phone. Any more people are on Facebook. So, but if we can find another way to cut that and move on to something that, not supporting companies that have these type of agendas.
Holly, thanks for the truth here at KIDO Talk Radio.
Thanks.
All right, 580-5436, 580-KIDO, traffic and weather together. And Deborah in Caldwell has been waiting at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Not bad. How are you, ma'am?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm an independent voter, but I'm a little perplexed at politics these days, and the kind of constant back and forth sniping that people seem to do, and then have this sort of ideal that they hold out that we need to come together and we need to find common ground and we need to deal with social problems. I'm just wondering how we get resolution when we have people throwing around opinions rather than facts and kind of convoluting opinions into things that they hold out as facts, people that hold themselves out as saying that they do research, and then kind of spew out biased opinions about the way things are, and end up sort of making, both sides making similar statements, but co-opting them for their own personal arguments. I'm kind of frustrated by that.
I just think that you have people fighting back on both sides, and I don't think either side wants a resolution. And the people that want a resolution, maybe they compromise. You go back to George Bush, the first George Bush. Remember, read my lips, no new taxes. The Democrats said, George, for the good of the country, we're not going to make this a re-election issue. We're not going to bash you over the head. And what did they do? They bashed him over the head with it. And now you see Republicans fighting back. That's how I see it.
Yeah, our social world is far more complicated than, people who have an argument about, something and they have a particular political sort of affiliation. If you spend enough time talking to them, you'll probably find other things that they have opinions about that are almost, completely, opposite. You see some of these memes on social media where,
right.
One side snipes one thing and then another side snipes something else. People that are, anti-abortion also believe in the death penalty. At what point do we give up on the value of human life, that sort of thing. It's complicated, and I don't know why our culture seems to be so reductionist. I wonder if it's those in control that sort of, point us in the direction of these reductionist, very simplistic sorts of arguments, and I don't think that serves us well. I mean, just something like social media. Let's say, for instance, Mark Zuckerberg is completely liberal. Is it outside the scope of, expectation that even somebody completely liberal can believe in the fact that, people should be allowed to have a platform to argue these agendas out? And, your last guest was talking about analytics and people being, shut down, what is the concept of hate speech and whether hate speech is a liberally, derived kind of notion. That doesn't negate the fact that hate speech exists.
Yeah, but also on the other hand, Deborah, you have people, look, my buddy Bill LeMay does a talk show. They've changed the algorithm on him. And look, that's Facebook's right to do that. The idea that I'll post something on Twitter, great job, Mr. President, and then I'll have people across the country saying horrible things about my wife, my dogs, and my physique that I can't repeat on the air.
Right. But I think both sides get a fair amount of that, right? When we have very polarized issues, both sides get a fair amount
But when you say, good job, Mr. President, and then you have people saying, I wish that you die 1,000 deaths, I don't think I don't think that's equal. I think, but again, I'm not a big fan of the social media anyway, because everybody's a tough guy. As you've pointed out, everybody's a
Right.
tough guy, and they have the vitriol and all that. I wish there could be, a reasonable conversation. I just don't see that happening, ma'am.
I don't either. I don't see a reasonable conversation happening, but, where do we go from here? This technology is here. I think technology always develops more quickly than we get our heads around the morality and the ethics of how to use it. But what do we do? It's here to stay, and so, I like the fact that, you're having dialogue about it. But I wonder what really can be done. I like what your last caller said. Don't use the platform if you don't like it.
Sure.
Don't participate.
Now, Deborah, before you go, as an independent voter, I got to quickly ask you, who are you looking at for governor?
I'm really liking so far, and I haven't heard much about her. I cannot recall her name at the moment.
Paulette Jordan.
It's early. Yes, I haven't had enough coffee, but
No.
yes, I'm really kind of liking some of the the things that she has to say.
Right.
I think it would be good for Idaho. You may disagree with me on that, but to have
I don't disagree
a
with
woman.
anybody.
Oh, you don't?
No, Deborah,
Come on now.
I've got to run, but please call back again. I appreciate your points, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Your response to Deborah next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie. KIDO Talk Radio. Let's go to our senior correspondent, the publisher of the Gem State Patriot, Tea Party Bob. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Miller. I wanted to thank you for having all of these politicians on your show so that we get an opportunity to listen to what they have to say. I only wish that they would all start telling the truth for a change. Brad Little talked about a tax cut he voted on this year, but he didn't mention that it would do little or nothing to help the middle or lower income taxpayers. Brad has been an attaboy, or should I say an otterboy, for 10 years that he served with as lieutenant governor, doing just about everything the governor has asked him to do, including helping to kill every bill that the governor has not want to get passed. He was one of the legislators who strongly supported the state health care exchange, making us the only red state to have one. And that caused thousands of Idahans to lose their health insurance, along with their doctors, and increased the premiums for the past 3 years by almost triple. He didn't mention any of that. And just last month, Little and Otter unsuccessfully issued an executive order to take 3,000 of Idaho's sickest citizens off their regular insurance to put them on Medicaid, causing them to lose their regular doctors and their support staff so they could give the insurance companies the cushion to lower rates for insured families. Problem is, insurance companies weren't going to guarantee that they were going to lower the rates. Brad is a follower. He's not a leader. Has proven this time and time again during his tenure as lieutenant governor. He's done Governor Otter's bidding, regardless of what he has asked him to do, no matter what it was for, whether it was killing the grocery tax or CBD oil legalization, or even, for that matter, gun legislation. He did nothing, absolutely nothing, to help these bills get passed. We need someone with leadership qualities that will change Idaho for the better and not keep it the way it's been for the last 12 years. If he's elected, we're going to have another 4 years of crony government, higher taxes, and more government, no new ideas, and we're not going to fix our problems. And just a quick word about Kelly Packer.
You've got a lot of quick words.
She's a gal. She was in the legislature for some time. Her voting record in 2017, and people don't really know this, okay? She says she's a conservative. She voted conservatively 42% of the time, according to AccuRatings, and 50% of the time, according to the Freedom Index. Now, if you want a governor who's going to be conservative 50% of the time, or a lieutenant governor that's going to be, conservative 50% of the time, well, by golly, elect that lady. But that's not what I'm looking for. I want somebody who's going to be conservative 100% of the time. I'm tired of this baloney. Tell people when they get on your show, please tell us the truth this time.
You know what I have to say to you?
Yes, go ahead.
Idaho needs no Nini.
Kevin, I love you. I love your show. You're doing a wonderful job. Just keep doing what you're doing.
God bless Tea Party Bob.
Have a great day, my friend.
All right. Great friend Tea Party Bob. Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. Let's go to Mike in Nampa with Kevin Miller. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you doing?
Well, blessed to have you on the show. Good morning.
Just like a lot of other callers say when they call in and talk to you, we love what you're doing, and we really appreciate it. You're making a difference.
Well, thank you,
I wanted
sir.
to share, being that the topic has been brought up quite a bit this morning, I wanted to share there's an alternative conservative website that I'm aware of that's it's kind of a cross between Facebook and Twitter. It's more Facebook-like. And it was started by someone that a lot of your callers might recognize quite well in the conservative circles. Black conservative commentator on Fox, founder of Blacksphere.com, Kevin Jackson, started a website. And interestingly enough, following Tea Party Bob's call, it's called teapartycommunity.org. I've been a member there since the site was put up, and it's a great alternative. People should check it out. teapartycommunity.org. It was put up and running, and they're expanding it right now and making improvements to it. But Kevin Jackson is behind it.
Well, Mike, we'll pump that up and thank you.
Yep, it's an alternative to Facebook. If we get enough conservatives over there, we don't need Facebook anymore. They can go kiss bricks.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome. Thanks, Kevin.
All right, Mike in Nampa. My goodness gracious, it's the international playboy, Pat from Middleton, calling us at KIDO Talk Radio. I can remember many years ago, I think before the internet, where Pat from Middleton would call us every day with his unique wisdom and commentary. But now we have to promote his appearances. Good morning, sir.
I used to, because I didn't have the international playboy moniker that you call me all the time. I'm trying to get rid of that. So
Wow.
I have absence. I thought the absence would get rid of it, but you got a stellar mind.
Well, you have a warm place in my heart. By the way, the only time I really see Pat is for Miller's Mission, and that's coming up the week before Memorial Day. But what can we do for you, sir?
Well, I wanted to see at the Miller show the other night, the Dennis Miller show. But were you there? I don't know. I wanted to thank you for the wonderful tickets, and for my friends in the Miller Row, bring back Oleg.
No, actually,
were you there?
No. We gave away all the tickets, and I'm not one of those pilferers, which, for people that work at radio or know people, a lot of people will scam tickets that are supposed to go for the listeners and use them for themselves. That's why you usually see radio people at events. But no, if I was going to go, I'd buy the tickets. But no, I didn't go.
Well, if you were there, you would have known Oleg was an awful lead-in comedian. He was terrible. But go Oleg, bring him back. Now, I wanted to comment on Deborah's comments about abortion and death penalty. And I am very pro-life, and you know that, and very anti-abortion. I hate abortion. I think it's the worst sin committed on innocent life ever. But the death penalty, I'm for the death penalty, but it also only for the most heinous of criminals. But see, they've already proven they deserve to be put to death for their actions. And the death penalty for Deborah, if you're listening still, who you shouldn't vote for a woman just because she's a woman, the death penalty is so rare that we probably put to death maybe 25 people a year, maybe. We put to death 3 million babies a year. So there's a big difference between anti-abortionists and people who believe in the death penalty. We believe that both should be the abortion should not happen, but even the death penalty should be very rare. And it gets every support of the juries, the trials, the courts, the public, and yet we don't hear the outcry and the outrage of the courts and the juries and the posts for anti-abortion, to keep the abortion rare or not at all. So, Deborah, I think your independent thinking needs to be a little bit reworked here. about the difference. Yes, I am pro-life, anti-abortion, and I'm also pro-death penalty. So anyway, I just wanted to comment. It gets me riled up when I hear so many people make that correlation that, oh, you're not for life if you're for the death penalty. I am for life, and I don't want death penalty. But if they truly deserve it, hey, they deserve it. It's judgment. It's the way it goes.
Good to hear from you. Don't be a stranger.
Hey, I love you, brother, and I will see you at your Miller Mission.
All right. We love you, Pat. Take care.
Take care.
He didn't even get a bye-bye. The gentleman that we unfortunately cut off yesterday, so we'll give him plenty of time today. Liberal Steve joins us now at KIDO Talk Radio.
Well, I can only say one thing to Pat. Unless you got ovaries, Pat, and you're childbearing age, shut up. That goes for pro-life, too. And Brad Little and Governor and all them people. Unless you're a female, she wants to get on and say the same thing as Pat, let her. But if you're a male, shut up.
So
anyway,
you're saying men shouldn't have any thoughts on life or abortion or choice? They are not qualified because they don't have...
They can have it, Miller, but keep it to themselves. The women, they can put it out there.
Isn't this not
they
America?
have to carry the children.
Isn't this America where you're allowed to voice your opinions?
Yeah, but it don't matter. They're male.
Isn't that
they
a
don't have a clue.
Isn't that a sexist statement to say people
No, it's not.
aren't
It's
allowed to
biological
speak because
statement.
they're
Let's go
men?
to Zuckerberg. Let's
Well,
cut
no,
this.
wait a
They didn't
minute.
even
Wait a
argue.
minute. You've attacked Patrick, and I'm defending his honor.
I didn't attack him. I just told him to shut up, unless he's got ovaries. Period.
Duly noted.
Zuckerberger. You know, they're talking about watching this Zuckerberger thing. What a joke. You know, we got congressmen on there that have given away all their information because they tweet. And everybody that asks for, hey, get our app. It's free. KIDO, CBS, NBC. Go to our Facebook page. You know, take our app. And when you click on that privacy statement, you've just opened yourself up to every bit of information they'd like to contain. Period. IP addresses, the whole works. And it's been going on for how long?
Is there a point to this call?
My point is, when did what's-his-name fly to Russia or fly here to hide from the NSA? Is that 10 years ago?
You're talking about Edward Snowden.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
I don't know, but did you ever see that documentary on him?
Oh, absolutely.
Not the docudrama, but the actual documentary where he...
Yeah, the actual documentary.
Yeah.
People thought it was scary and very spooky, didn't they?
I thought it was riveting.
That was only 1/10 of what's going on in the world.
Look,
like the Syrian thing.
But look, nobody cares about privacy. Very few people do. And you take a look at...
latest?
Well, look, but let's go back to Edward Snowden. He exposed Obama. He exposed James Clapper, that they should have been brought up on criminal charges for breaking the law, for lying to the public. And you know what happened to them? Not a darn thing. They broke their own laws about spying on Americans without any type of reasonable cause, probable cause, and the information industrial complex continues today. And Snowden's hanging out with Putin. He
exposed them, Miller, but that's just exposure. That's not proof. That's like Stormy Daniels being exposed. It's not proof.
Actually, it was proof, sir. He offered the documentation that the government was spying on us without our permission and without any reasonable cause.
Then Stormy's proof, because all that documentation's out there, and now the FBI knocks down the door.
There's no documentation. There's no documentation. There's speculation from a pornographer. If you want to believe a pornographer and her political operative attorney over the President of the United States, well, then you and I are going to part ways.
Oh, so now you're going to shame this woman because she's got a legitimate
I'm not going to elevate her
job?
career as a pornographer. No, I'm not.
Why? What? Well, who's going to elevate anybody's career? She can be a pornographer. That's a job.
If you make a living selling smut, then you shouldn't be afraid to say you're a smut seller.
Selling sex?
Selling smut.
Show me an ad on TV like Carl Jr.
This is a family values show. There's a little difference between selling a hamburger known as a slider and whatever those people do in pornography. I'm not
You
familiar
say
with
this
it.
is a family value show, yet you love.
Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. More of your phone calls next. Remember, we're at Meridian Technical School tomorrow, charter school, brought to you by CapEd Credit Union and Team Mazda Subaru. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio.
First, it was a bucket of rocks. Now another school district in Pennsylvania is arming their teachers with mini baseball bats. Officials in Mill Creek Township say they want to have a consistent tool for all teachers to fight school shooters.
It's a last resort. It is the last resort, but it is an option. Unfortunately, we're in a day and age where we may need to use them to protect ourselves and our kids.
Right, they're not even the regular bats, they're mini bats. Good morning, Kevin Miller here at KIDO Talk Radio. We'll talk a little bit more about arming educators in another show. By the way, to the Quiet Idahoan on Twitter, no, Liberal Steve is not a parody. Terry from State College, Pennsylvania, formerly of State College, Pennsylvania. You're on KIDO Talk Radio. Hello, Terry.
Good morning. Kevin, you should have kept Liberal Steve on the radio. We had the van on its way. We were sending an additional attendant along. We've got to get that boy back on the farm. He stops taking his meds, then he starts calling all the radio stations. Well, and you know what we end up with. But anyways, I feel for him. Kevin, baseball bats, Mill Creek. That's right down the road from us.
Right.
You blink your eyes when you go through and you've missed it. It's such a small area. It is below Huntington, which is one of the, not very far below Huntington, which is one of the high security state prisons. In fact, that's where the worst of them go, if I remember. I don't know what they're thinking there is. Maybe the prisoners are going to break out. A little perplexed. I mean, the biggest thing in town there's a roller skating rink and one little restaurant. So I'm confused. But anyways, so I'm glad to hear that Bob has been promoted. He is now senior correspondent.
He's the senior correspondent, yes.
Who are the junior correspondents?
Ronnie. I'd say Ronnie from Caldwell, yes.
Yes, thank you. I assumed as much, but he basically runs around incognito 24/7. So, you know, he can get into all those places that Bob possibly couldn't get into. So it's good. It's good. As a matter of fact, I think Ronnie could probably get you an interview with this Stormy Daniels. I believe that.
We'll pass on Stormy. Terry, anything else?
No, Kevin, you have a great day. It's been a really enjoyable show today. And if you're not listening to KIDO Radio, you haven't got a brain. Kevin, you have a good day.
Terry, thank you. Coming up next, Tess and Big John first. And quickly to Tess. Good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio. You've got about 30 seconds, then it's Big John time.
All right. Well, here, I just want to tell you thanks for using appropriate titles, you know, because people know, hey, so the name that you have, you're born with, and then you marry one, and then you earn one, and then God calls you by another name when you go home. But, you know, I do want to thank you for using appropriate titles for people when you're speaking with them. That's so respectful. And then just to say, with all the ads that are running, here's what every good grandma knows. When you're talking about people and you don't really know the story, here's how you preface the conversation. You say, well, as the story goes.
Hey,
So there you go.
Thank you, Tess.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right. Big John, you'll bring us home on KIDO Talk Radio.
Okay, Liberal Steve should not criticize Pat from Middleton for speaking the truth. You know, Liberal Steve's problem is that he needs to learn how to apply truth correctly to radio programs such as your own. That's all I got to say.
All right.
Thanks, Kevin. You have a great day.
Thank you, Big John. Don't forget this afternoon, Sean Hannity. At 3:05, listen for the Kevin Miller Money Code. You could win big money up to $5,000 tomorrow. Meridian Technical Charter, looking forward to that. And thank you, Thursdays, your chance to win some great prizes just by listening. Kevin Miller in the morning. Ray Maya, great job. Good day. God bless. Keep the faith, everyone.